Hello, this is Dwayne Lesner, your not so good looking TME from the north. We want to showcase today AOS 5.11, which has support for moving workloads from ESXi on-prem into Xi Leap, which is our cloud-based offering for DR orchestration or DR as a service. So what we have here is a SQL server, 3 web front ends, and a file server all acting together to form one application. This SQL server kind of being at the heart of the matter, we're going to take a deeper look and look at its MAC address, which can be very important for applications that have that their MAC address tied to licensing. So if you can remember all that, God bless. Just maybe A4, C4 will get us what we need to do. So we're going to put that in the back of our heads, and we're also going to put this 206. As we fail over into a new subnet as one of the options, we're going to maintain that 206 so we know what that IP address will be beforehand. So that's vCenter, not too much to see there. So here's our workloads. Let's pop into Prism Central. This is Prism Central on-prem. We have a filter applied for ESXi. So if we close that, we can see our virtual machines that we're going to protect. We have our SQL server here as well. So we already have categories set up. The application that we're protecting with those VMs is called ORMED, supply chain software, so SQL, file share, web. So we already have those applied. Policies are already being applied, but we'll take a look at the policies that we have. Protection policies allow us to provide an RPO and get our VMs moved over across into the cloud. So if we look at ORMED and hit update on our protection policy, we see that we're replicating to USA East. So this is moving from Phoenix to the East Coast. We have a recovery point objective set up. We're using a roll-up schedule here, 2 hourlies and 2 dailies being recovered. So you can have different, depending on what you want for the retention. If you're using all flash, you're not going to use up your valuable storage on-prem. And we have our categories listed here that we're going to use for the protection policy. We can add VMs individually, but this is definitely a best practice to use categories. So that's going to move our workloads or replicate them over. To have a startup failover plan, we're going to use a recovery plan. The recovery plan is also pre-set up. So if we take a look at what it's doing for us, lots of different options here. So you can fail over into the test network. We'll take a look at the recovery plan in general. So we have a power on sequence. We are going to boot the SQL server so our application can get up and running. The application, the web servers are making use of a file server, so we want that to come up first, and then our 3 web servers. So you can set a delay. You can have up to 20 categories. So lots of different things that you can set up and maintain here. Moving on to the network settings. If we wanted to, we could create the same subnet in our Xi Leap cloud service, and here we are going to do that. So upon failover, it's going to move that subnet into Xi. So we're actually going to maintain the 206 address, and we're also going to maintain that MAC address. And we also additionally have support for floating IPs, so we can give your web front end, if it needs to be talked to the internet, it can get an IP address for that automatically. So with that, let's pop over into the Xi Leap side. We will quickly bring that up. Xi. We are using my Nutanix.com credentials. So these credentials are used for pairing the communication between on-prem and into Xi. And they're also used for logging into your service. So if we take a look, we do everything is synced up. We have our recovery plan. So we have ORMED here. We are going to do a failover. There are 2 types of failovers. We could do unplanned, which is going to use the last snapshots available for those virtual machines. But we're going to do a migration. But if you do the unplanned, you can pick from the last recovery point available, or a specific in time. A nice little option comes up here to pick your date and time from a calendar. But let's do unplanned failover, so it actually removes or takes a snapshot. So we'll go failover here. All right, so that is kicked off. We can take a look at the tasks that are occurring. So if we click on our recovery plan, go to tasks, failover, we see that the validation has already occurred. We're creating a new subnet for our workload in Xi to maintain the IP addresses, and we're starting to migrate our virtual machines over. So we have the floating IPs being assigned. It looks like the SQL Server is up, and we can start to, now we'll filter here by on. Here's our SQL Server. We can take a look at the NICs. We have our MAC address maintained, and we also have the IP maintained. We'll quickly take a look at the rest of the recovery plan. It is fully finished, and we are completely done. So pretty quick failover time, and the thing to note here, we actually are switching image formats too, but since we can control the storage, it is really quick for recovery time objectives. So even though we're changing hypervisors, you're fully covered. And so it's not only that you can move to the cloud easily, you can also fail back easily. Those protection policies will automatically be reverted. So if we take a look at the protection policies sitting in Xi, protection policy, and we hit update, we see that the recovery location is now pointing back to our on-prem. We didn't have to change anything. So if we go back into our on-prem side, close out of here, and then on the protection policy, if we want to move back, all we need to do on the recovery plan, is hit fail over. And so now we're going to fail back from Xi into our on-prem. So that's going to be kicked off, and that's essentially how easy it is to move your applications into the cloud and back using Xi Leap. Thanks for watching.